In this lesson, we'll build our foot controls. There are two main things we want to keep in mind when building controls. One, we want to make sure that they're very easy to select. Another thing is that we want to make sure that they are going to be cleaned up in their transforms so that we can make sure that it's very easy to go back to this T pose the character's in, what's also called the bind pose, by simply zeroing out that control object. So those are the two main things we want to keep in mind. Apart from that, you also want to make sure that you design it in a way where it's easy to read what that control object belongs to. So let's keep that in mind when we build this foot control. What I'll do is head over to the Create menu, NURBS Primitives, and we'll go ahead and turn off Interactive Creation. Going back to the same menu, we'll go ahead and create a NURBS circle. I like to use this for foot controls. From there, let's say we go ahead and move this over to the left foot. Once we're done with that, we can mirror it to the right side. I'll select the X-axis, hold down the V key, and use the middle mouse button to drag that into place. By only moving it in the X-axis, we make sure that this control is going to lie on the grid. We don't want it moving up at all because this is what basically represents our floor. So when we zero this out, we know that the control is on the floor. Alright, so with that done, I'm going to go ahead and just scale this down a little bit more. And then we can go to component mode, pressing F8, and start to reshape this to conform it to the foot. Again, so it's easy to read and understand exactly what this control is. So that even if we were to hide our character, we'd still know what this control belongs to. Okay, I won't spend too much time here. We also cover some ways we can very quickly create control curves in the character rigging for production course. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention as well. We cover a lot of good things in that, and I know you'd really enjoy that if you went through it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this curve done. So from here, we need to clean up some things. We need to clean up our transformations. We'll head over to Modify, Freeze Transformations. Now that that's clean, we need to clean up our history. So we'll need to head over to Edit, Delete by Type History. And I would recommend adding those to your shelf. So I'll press Control-Shift, Modify, Freeze Transformations, Control-Shift, Edit, Delete by Type History. Okay, great. So now let's go ahead and discuss this. We wouldn't want this pivot of the foot control to be where it's at right now. The reason why is we're going to run into counter keying, and I'll kind of show you that. What we'll need to do is select this reverse lock heel and parent it to our curve. So let's do that. Now, as we lift this up in position, it's fine. But as we rotate, notice how it's going to shift the upper leg. Okay, we don't really want that. We want full control over what happens to that upper leg. So what we can do then is move this pivot of this control to the ankle so we can avoid that shifting in the upper leg as we rotate this control. So I'll press Insert on the keyboard, hold down the V key, and snap. So now as we move this up, notice, okay, yes, we're moving the position of the IK, but as we rotate, there's going to be no shifting in that upper leg. Great. Okay, well, now that that's done, what I'm actually going to do is unparent the heel. I'll just press Shift P to quickly unparent it so we can go ahead and mirror this control over. We can do that by pressing Control D to copy it. We'll just drag it over. Then we'll scale it in the X-axis with a value of -1. Now that it's mirrored, we can go ahead and move this into place. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just select the manipulator. You can see in 2011 it actually remembers the axis you've selected. So to refresh this, just simply select within the center of the manipulator. And now you could just hold down the V key and middle mouse button, click and drag to snap that to the right ankle. Alright, so with that in place, I'll go ahead and freeze transformations to clean it up. We'll go ahead and rename these. On the right side, that's going to be right _ foot control 01. I'll copy the name, bring that over to the left side. Okay, now we can go ahead and color code these. What I like to do is actually use red and blue. Red for the right side, blue for the left side. Again, so it's easy to discern what control belongs where. So again, for our right control, we could head over to the attribute editor, and underneath our object display, we can head over to drawing overrides, enable overrides, and go ahead and give this a color of red. Selecting the left control, enable overrides, and we can find a blue for this. Alright, there we have it. So they're color coded. What would we need to do next? Well, we can go ahead and take care of parenting our heel to that control, to the control we've just built. So let's do that. Select the reverse lock heel and parent it to the foot control. Alright, so now we can actually call it a control. Great. Okay, let's say we go ahead and clean this up further. We know that we're not going to want to scale this at all. Okay, we don't want any of our chain bone shifting. All we need to do is move this, so we need to worry about translation, and we need to rotate this, so we need to worry about our rotation channels. But everything else we can get rid of. To do that, you simply go to your channel box, select the channels that you would like to remove, right click and choose lock and hide. Right underneath hide selected. If you ever need to get that back, with the control selected, you simply go to Edit, Channel Controls. And notice, for example, Scale, here it is, and then Translate, or excuse me, Visibility is very last. But if we were to go ahead and choose Move, to move that back over to the keyable section, the last step would just be to go in, right click and choose Unlock Selected, so it can receive keyframes. Alright, but I'm going to go ahead and right click and get rid of those. So we'll do the same thing to the right side. Again, right click, lock and hide selected. Okay, so we have our foot controls established. In the next lesson, what we're going to do is work on creating a custom parameter that's going to drive our foot roll.